Yes, it's the end of the week, so you know what time it is. Roll the intro. That's right, we don't have an intro. So yeah, this is a little awkward. So let's just start with Liverpool and Tottenham, because it's the rematch of one of many of the games that made Liverpool say, F it! Let's smash the transfer record for a defender inside Virgil van Dijk. Do you guys remember this game? Do you? Well, if you don't, it was when Spurs went up 2-0 against the Reds inside 12 minutes in one of the worst defensive performances by Dejan Lovren that I have ever seen, and that's saying something. And he was taken off after 31 minutes because he was that bad. And the game ended up 4-1 to Harry Kane and his friends. Or maybe they're not his friends. You know, I mean, maybe Harry Kane secretly doesn't like that Heung-min Son has a better nickname than he has, because Heung-min Son is called Sonaldo, and that's a lot cooler than the Hurricane. And now I'm just making up rumors. They could be BFFs for all I know. Anyway, while Liverpool have slightly improved since this 4-1 loss, and I'm not sure why I did that, their inconsistent performances, which saw them end Manchester City's unbeaten run, only to follow up that huge giant win with a loss to then 20th place Swansea City, and then they got knocked out of the FA Cup by currently in 20th place West Brom. It has to be a big, giant worry for them, especially since they didn't sign anyone else to the squad after losing Coutinho. Not that Spurs did much in the transfer window either, but I was pleasantly surprised to see them pick up Lucas Moura from PSG, who has some real quality to his game and who should not only give Spurs manager Mauricio Pochettino more options, but he should be a real nice complement to Spurs' attacking players like Sonaldo, Kane, Dele Alli, and Christian Eriksen. So my prediction, you ask? Well, Spurs pounced on Manchester United's individual mistakes midweek to beat them 2-0, and Liverpool, though coming off a 3-0 win of their own midweek, are a team known to make a lot of individual mistakes. So I think you can see where I want to go with this. But this is such a big game. Liverpool are in third on 50 points, and Spurs are in fifth on 48 points. And Liverpool are going to want some revenge after being embarrassed earlier this season 4-1, which is the same scoreline I'm talking about over and over and over again. And it's at Anfield, but Spurs are in pretty good form right now. And I just think there's going to be a lot of goals in this one. It's going to be a barn burner, as we like to say over here. Is that what you guys say? Over in the UK? Or over in Europe? Or in South America? Or in Asia? Or in Australia? Wherever you guys are watching this. There's going to be a lot of goals. It's going to be a barn burner. 3-3. That's what I'm going with. And up next is Atletico Madrid versus Valencia. Because what was once a dream season for Valencia is gradually fading away. And even worse, it's threatening to turn pretty bad. After being level on points with Barcelona less than 2 months ago, they've won only 3 league games since, which has dropped them 17 points off the top. So to quickly recap, 2 months ago, they were on top. 2 months later, 17 points back. I mean, WTF, man. As for Atleti, they have only lost 1 league game all season, which quietly puts them in second. But it's not because they are masters of winning. Actually, it's because they are more like the masters of drawing, which leaves them 11 points off the top, which is crazy. They only have 1 loss, but they're 11 points off the top. But they have a fantastic defense. They've only given up 9 goals in 21 league games. And of course, Kevin Gamero's on their team. And as you guys know, I love me some Kevin Gamero. But in real life, he clearly isn't playing enough, because Atleti have only scored 32 goals in those 21 games this season, which is 4 less than 15th place Real Sociedad. That said, Atleti are at their new home where they are unbeaten in the league, and Diego Costa is coming back from injury, while Valencia have so many injuries, especially in their back line, where they have former Arsenal grunt Francis Coquelin. Coquelin? Coquelin? Well, he had to play center back for them in their recent 4-1 home loss to Real Madrid, so I think if that happens again, or even if it doesn't, Atleti's going to win this 2-0. And next up, it's Inter Milan versus Crotone. And another example of a team that had a hot start only to fizzle out very badly. Inter hasn't won a league match in 2 months, and they got knocked out of the Coppa Italia by AC Milan, which has to hurt. But yet, surprisingly, they still find themselves in 4th, which probably says more about the form of Roma and AC Milan below them in the table, because those guys can't seem to figure things out either than it actually says about Inter. But what the f***? You know, both Milan clubs, both clubs from Rome, Roma and Lazio, I mean, everyone looked primed to help knock off Juventus from winning yet another Scudetto, and they just keep f***ing it up. You guys keep f***ing it up, and now Napoli are Serie A's only hope, and I'm just frustrated. So frustrating. The frustration is real. Anyway, Inter have a good chance to end this crap run that they're on as they face Crotone, Bologna, Genoa, and Benevento in their next 4 games. And honestly, if they can't get the full 12 points, or I'll say 10 points, I'll give them some room for a draw, a lucky draw somewhere in those 4 games. And what are they even doing anymore? So for me, this is a must-win, or Luciano Spalletti needs to go, which would be unfortunate because they have so much turnover at the managerial position anyway. But it's just like, if he can't figure it out, who's going to figure it out? I don't know. Nobody's going to figure it out. Maybe let's stick with him. I don't know. Anyway, I think Inter's going to win 3-1. And now we head to France for Monaco versus Lyon. With the Ligue 1 title all but mathematically over, I sometimes get the feeling that the other teams not named PSG aren't really giving it their all anymore. I mean, let's take Monaco, for example, who have been meh in the league, but reached the finals of the League Cup after a Falcao brace gave them a victory over Montpellier. Or Lyon, who beat PSG 2-1 in one hell of an entertaining game filled with some amazing goals, including that Memphis Depay one right there at the end. That was pretty sweet. But then they lost to Bordeaux a week later. So it kind of feels like no one can be bothered in the league anymore. And with this general lack of consistency on display, I'm like, what? Why even play him? What are we even doing? And with this in mind, I have zero idea which club is going to show up and be ready to compete. But Lyon got a 3-2 victory over Monaco in the Coup de France round of 32. So that was a big win for them. And this game is in Monaco again, but I don't see Monaco getting beat twice in a row at home. So I'm going to say 3-2 to Monaco this time. And here are some other games I'll be keeping my eyes on this weekend. Oh yeah! I just squished my balls. Oh! Like Espanyol versus Barcelona, and mainly because I want to see what happens with Coutinho, who made his league debut against Alaves last week, but it was, statistically speaking, his worst performance of the season as he got subbed off in the 66th minute when Barca was down 1-0. But then, in his absence, Barcelona would come back to win 2-1, so I guess you could read into this however you want, but it's gotta mess with his confidence a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see how he responds to this and what Ernesto Valverde, the manager of Barcelona, decides to do with him. Does he start him? Does he keep him on the bench? I don't know. And then another player I'll be keeping these things on is Bayer Leverkusen's Leon Bailey when he and his currently in second place club head to Freiburg this weekend. And that's because the 20-year-old has been on fire recently, scoring 5 goals and notching 1 assist in his last 5 games in all competitions, which has made everyone forget about who is going to replace that Chicharito guy who had scored a bunch of goals for the club last season, which means that you know, and this is going to happen 100%, that Bayern Munich should be lining up to sign him in no time because that's what Bayern does. They steal every other German club's best players to maintain their superiority. And then I will definitely be watching Arsenal versus Everton because I want to see if the Gunners' record signing, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who has been one of the best players in Africa and the Bundesliga over the past couple of years, will make his debut. And not only that, I want to see where Arsenal manager Arsene Wenger plays him because if he's not paired up top with Alexander Lacazette, then Wenger needs to be out. He's past it. You put your best 11 players on the field and you let them figure it out. They're world class for a reason. Also, I'm going to be interested to see how Theo Walcott does in his return to the Emirates, especially since he's done quite well since putting on the blue jersey of the Toffees. And then I'll be spying on Porto versus Braga because Porto was on top before dropping to second behind Sporting Clube de Portugal after being held to a goalless draw away to Moreirense. That's a really tough one for me. And now they host Braga, who love getting 4th in the league. They're kind of like the Arsenal of Portugal, but without the unrealistic expectations of their supporters. Or at least I think so, because I haven't seen any Braga fan TV stuff pop up, you know? Anyway, this should be a good game because if Porto drops points again, then their title hopes could be over. Like legit. Because Benfica's nipping at their heels too. And then I'm going to be watching one of my favorite leagues in the world when second place San Lorenzo in Argentina, who have been in fine form heading into this game, winning 7 out of their last 9, taking on first place Boca Juniors. Dale Bo, dale bo, dale bo, dale bo. We have the best attack and defense in the league and the league's leading scorer in Dario Benedetto, which means this one is going to be a great game, so you should make some time for it. And then I'll be carving out some of my weekend for the Brisbane versus Melbourne City because my have moved up to 6th place after 2 wins in a row, and now they're hosting 3rd place Melbourne City, who sucked for a while, kind of around the new year, but seem to have turned it around, so congrats to them. But really, I just hope my can keep it going, so up the roar! Do you think they say up the roar? And then finally, it's Liga MX time and Monterrey versus León, because Monterrey didn't lose at home at all last season, so León has some work to do. But León now has Landon Donovan on their team, and he's looking to make his debut soon. So why not in this game? You want to do it? If you want to win, León, you want to do it. You'll do it if you want to win, León. That's what I meant to say, because Captain America will save the day. And all right, that is it. It is done, because that was a lot of games, and I don't have the strength to talk anymore. I'm just kidding, I love talking. Anyway, pick the right score for Liverpool versus Tottenham, and you will be entered to win some free Warm Ballers merch from this handsome face right here. And then please, for me, have a good or bad weekend. Later.